folks. Well, welcome to another edition of the Omnist Hour. This is actually my second time starting this recording. I screwed up the first time and didn't start recording, so it'll be interesting to see how well I do after I've had one fairly long rehearsal. Anyway, so it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since our last session here. I've been thinking about events that have happened, people I've encountered, a lot of heated discussions about many topics on Facebook and other venues, and a lot of folks very vehemently disagreeing with my position on things. So I think I distilled from all that the topic of this session should be heaven. I've talked before many times. I talk a lot about the heaven of connection, which I've told you is this place that we go to after we die, after we finish an incarnation, to go plan the next. It's also a place of doing a lot of other things, because not all incarnations are actually in physical realms. Sometimes we go to heaven and we choose to take a heavenly assignment, and we sort of live a life in the spiritual world. And so there's a lot of different ways of perceiving heaven, and I think that's the crux of many of the arguments, discussions that I've gotten into. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of flesh out what really goes on in heaven from the viewpoint of different people, and show how they all fit into the framework of the Omnist heaven. Okay, so first thing you need to know about heaven: it is a place of connection, and it can seem like a place of infinite connection to pretty much at any level that you are spiritually. Most people who experienced heaven, either through a near-death experience or an ecstatic spiritual experience, through psychedelic experience, through actually dying, have a common first impression of heaven as this glorious white light that is so appealing and loving and pulling us toward it and guiding us. And that's true. That's because it wants to be a place of attraction. It figures if you're ready to die, there's probably a good reason for it. And we'd like to kind of pull you in and get you started on a new life. And you can resist that if you want, because the multiverse is all about making choices. You've always got choices, even if you don't think you do. And some people see that bright light and they say, nope, I'm not going to go there. And those are the people that have a certain kind of near-death experience, come back to their life, and we've been in a coma for 3 days and suddenly came back and ends up living another 20 years. Or they just came back from a psychedelic trip and they saw this brilliant white light and I've been to the place where all the connection is. I know where all the knowledge is. I know where everything is. I'm part of God. I'm part of one. Everything is part of me. Oh, I feel so blessed. Or they come back saying, somebody was trying to pull me against my will, and I'm an atheist. I don't believe in that stuff, so I just said no. Now, because I'm an atheist, I survived this death experience. I survived this psychic manipulation by somebody, which obviously could be explained by some very rational scientific theory. And that's the end of it. I'm still an atheist. Okay, so that's the first experience of heaven. The first experience you get is kind of sucker play, if you will, because as you go through a life, you've had this forgetting that happens with each incarnation. And it's entirely possible when this life is over that you've never gotten to the point where you understood the first thing about why you're here. You could be one of the old gods, one of the most powerful and knowledgeable creators in the multiverse. And you just happen to decide to live a vacation life, and, you know, we're an obstetrician in Poughkeepsie, New York. Had 12 kids, was a devout Mormon, and had a really successful, nice life in a very limited thing. And you never even learn what all you were about. And so you'll go up to heaven, and you're not going to get the red carpet treatment for gods. You're going to get the run-of-the-mill, okay, I just got done with a routine Mormon life. What do Mormons see when they get to heaven? We'll give him that. Get him to come up there, because, you know, I think it's about time for his physical vessel to end. And that obstetrician has a choice to let it end or to go back. If they go back, they suffer a little bit more under whatever is ailing their body or their mind that was getting them ready for death. If they go on, then they go to the next step of heaven, which again is going to be a very individual experience based upon what the expectations are. If you go to heaven as a Christian and expect to have a good Christian heaven, that's exactly what you're going to get. They will give the illusion that you're in the midst of angels, and the angels are, you know, you have to go through a life evaluation first. You have to get judged. Okay, so let's go through your life here and see what you did right, what you did wrong. I don't know, do you think you really deserve to be in heaven? Or we could send you to Purgatory for a while, or we could send you to, you know, gosh, I don't know, there's some pretty hard things there. You think you deserve some time in hell? And because it's a place of connection, you're already going to be thinking where you belong. If you've done some really dark things, you know you're going to hell. If that's the kind of Christian you are. Some Christians don't believe in hell. Some believe that, oh, if I was a Christian and I went to church everything, and I got my absolution from the priest, that any sin can be forgiven, and therefore I get to go to heaven, right? And they'll let you do that within reason. They'll say, well, actually, you know what? You're not quite ready for heaven. We ran out of hearts this week. But we have a really nice opening in Purgatory. Now actually, we've got several. It's like new house, you know, shopping for a new house. They'll show you some new models. You could try this life. You know, you really had a problem with expressing love towards your family, and you know, you really had a big problem with greed. Well, here's a nice body you could pop into that would be just perfect for learning something about greed. And then maybe next time, you can come back and we'll talk about that heaven for you. And that's what a typical Christian's trip to heaven might look like. Now, if you were Muslim, I don't know what their expectations of heaven are, but it would be much like that, and the end result would be about the same. They would talk you into, convince you to take this path, take this whatever that would result in another life. And you would always have a choice. But these spirits can be fairly persuasive. And, after a while, one might come to think that it's kind of a dystopian thing where you're on the wheel of karma and you're always trying to fix things, but they always tell you, I did it wrong and I got to go back again. And you might become a Buddhist for a while and say, you know what, I'm just not going to play this game anymore. Every time I'm born, I'm just going to focus my life on this thing that I call nirvana, which is going to be escaping from all that. Then I won't have to face it anymore. And when a Buddhist dies, they go to the Buddhist heaven. Nirvana. I'm in this place of connection, and I feel completely connected, and there's nothing to do. Is this all there is? I know I'm in nirvana, but come on, how much nirvana can anyone take? And this Buddhist mind starts thinking in heaven about all the things that they didn't appreciate when they had a life. All the things they didn't do, all the people they didn't give the time of day because they were so focused on achieving enlightenment and their own selfish getting off this wheel. And they finally come up with, you know what? If only I'd done this different. I wish I'd done that. And all of a sudden, they find themselves being born again, given another chance, with a little different perspective. Maybe eventually, they will get out of the conundrum of being a Buddhist and start believing in something bigger than themselves again. Start believing in a divine plan, a reason for all this, and not selfishly think that this whole system, I don't have to play it, I'm going to get off this. I mean, a Buddhist is basically an atheist with spirituality. They're both kind of dark places to be living life after life after life from, but you can live that if you want to. Let me tell you what the atheist heaven looks like. Okay? The atheist dies, sees this bright light. Oh, well, it's obviously just a physical phenomenon. It's my optical nerve shutting down. Nothing to worry about. They get up to heaven, and heaven is sitting in their coffin, twiddling their thumbs. Well, okay, come on, worms, come and eat me up. Anytime now. That's right. Haha, see, my flesh is decaying. I told you it would. Now, what's going to happen next? Let's see. I think my brain's going to liquefy. I didn't need it anyway. I'm too smart to need a brain. Well, things are decaying. Nope, some animal just carried off my leg. Well, I hope he enjoys it. Had a good meal. Well, this is exactly what I thought death was going to be like. I wonder what's going to happen next. Well, my body's gone. Oh, it's being replaced by dirt. It's actually becoming the dirt. Well, that's what I knew would happen. I've still got a little bit of a shirt here, so it probably takes. I wonder how long it takes for me to completely decompose and be subsumed into the universe. We'll just wait around here a little while longer. All these parts of my body are being taken away, and I'm still thinking about it. What's going on here? I'm still thinking, and my body's gone. Oh, this is weird. This is very weird. I must be having a dream, a nightmare. Maybe I didn't die at all. If I wait long enough, I'll wake up. Let's just keep waiting here for a little while longer. Boy, I sure miss apple pie. I wouldn't give to be a kid again. The smells of pies baking. Oh, I remember that kid that I grew up with. gosh, it's like my whole life is coming back to me, and there's so many things that I would like to do again. I wish I did different. And then all of a sudden, poof, they find themselves in another human vessel. And that's what atheist heaven looks like. Where else might we want to go with this? Let's suppose that we believe that we're part of one cosmic consciousness, and we're going to go back to the source, and we're going to be there forever in this perfect place. I don't know why we wanted to experience this life that this piece of our consciousness just had, because it was such a inconsequential life. It didn't accomplish anything, but it was very pure. Yes, it was very loving. I was so loving and pure and perfect, but the world wasn't ready for my perfectness yet. So I finally had to end that experience. Somebody ended it. I'm not quite sure how I got here. But now I am in this perfect place of oneness, completely connected with the universe. Ah, this. I know everything now. Oh, let's see. I've always wanted to know who murdered John Benet Ramsey. Let's think. I've got my full consciousness here. I know everything. Who did it? What? I don't know that. Come on. I'm supposed to know everything here. I'm God, after all. I don't still have to forget all the stuff like I did during my life. You told me that I was going to have everything when I got back to the source. I've spent my whole life working toward that and knowing that and trying to bring everybody else to that perfect knowledge. You mean I'm not God? Where is God? What is God? What is this crazy place I'm in if it's not the source? Oh, drat. Okay, I was wrong about that, all right? But everybody makes mistakes. Just give me another chance. Let me try again. I'll try not to be such a oneness bastard, okay? I promise I'll never think communism is a good form of government. Obviously it didn't work, right? Forgive me, whoever you are, whatever you are. Give me another chance. I know how they'll forgive me. Let me be a capitalist. Yes, let me be a Republican. Oh, please. I'll even be white. I'll even be male. Please, let me go back again. And you're back in another body. And you get what you wish. And you deal with it. And you learn. Now, how does heaven look for somebody who actually gets reincarnation and understands it in a more deep way than maybe a Hindu did, with a little bit of science thrown in, a little bit of Star Trek thrown in? Okay, this is the heaven of spiritualist on the order of a Dolores Cannon, if you will, or one of her followers, who believe that you can actually connect with all your lives and believe the testimony of people who have actually remembered times when they were in the heaven of connection. Okay, so this is a rational spiritualist in heaven, which is actually pretty close to an Omnist most of the time. Okay, I see this bright white light. Great. I'm going to the heaven of connection again. I'm going to plan another life. I've been thinking about this a lot, so I know pretty well what I want. And, well, I'm still kind of stuck on this whole materialism thing. I know that I'm going to plan this life, but I really want to live. I want to have more lives, So what would I like to do in the next life? I'm really tired of being a human. What I really liked is to be in a species that's more like, the Vulcans. Now, those guys knew what they were doing. So let's see. Come on, tell me, guys. We all know all the options I have. I'm very open-minded. You don't have to hide anything from me. Show me a species that is like a Vulcan. So I want to be that. I'd like to be like a spacefaring, intelligent being that brings peace and harmony and love and science and perfection to the universe. Bang! That's what you get. And you live out a life as a Vulcan. Or you get up there and you say, you know what? I'm kind of tired of this incarnation thing. This last trip in the physical body was pretty bad. I had hemorrhoids and I died of cancer, for God's sake, and that was no fun at all. And, I think after all that I've learned, I'd really like to take a hand at being part of the system here. So if it's at all possible, I'd like to maybe stay here and be one of the guides for some of the newbies on the block. And, I'm not sure if I want to be a guide for somebody as enlightened as me. So could you send me, over to the heaven of the Christians? Because I think I could really help Christians get past their problems. Oh, or Muslims. Now, they need a lot of help. Or, you know what? I'd like to be an advisor for really, really new souls. So just send me all the elementary particles that have been annihilated lately, and we'll figure out, where we can send them. Because I studied physics in my last incarnation, and I know everything about physics. So, that's where I think my talents could be best used in heaven. And that's what you do for a while. So you get tired of it. So your patients get tired of you. Your patients lose their patience. And your job is eliminated. Your heavenly job is eliminated, and you're back right there in the heavenly employment office. And okay, well, we just got a lot of complaints from the muons and the electrons that you just weren't treating them fairly, and we just can't have that. So we're going to have to ask you to take a different position. And you'll think about it for a while and think, you know what? I miss a lot of stuff about being human. And thinking about it, you know what? I never had the experience of being female. I've always identified as male. And you know what? I maybe was a little bit prejudiced at that. I think I need to go back and be female for a change. Whew, you get a chance to go experience being a female for the first time. And it might be pretty rough, because the only thing you ever identified as is a male in a human body. And you might just decide, what the hell? I don't belong here. I don't feel like a girl. I want to be a man. And some putz is going to tell you, oh, well, we've got the perfect fix-it machine. Remember the book The Sneetches? Now, I'm glad they didn't cancel that one yet. Yes, let's put you in on our sex-off machine. Oh, you don't like being a woman? Of course you don't. You can be a man, just like you always wanted to. And boom. The whole reason that you incarnated to experience life as a female is ruined because everybody told you you could be a man. Yep, there's advisors down in the physical world that think they're God too. Maybe they're right for some. Maybe that path leads you to something that you didn't think that you wanted to experience in the human form, but you needed to experience. I'm not dissing anything. I'm just saying that if you don't view things from the viewpoint of the different kind of journeys that we take when we go to heaven, the heaven of connection is the only place where you're going to have the most knowledge, the most perspective to choose a good life for your next life. And if you don't take advantage of it, you're missing a lot. Okay, so have we covered a lot of the different perspectives of heaven yet? Are there any places we want to go with this? We've talked about atheist heaven. We've talked about Christian heaven. We've talked about New Age heaven. We've tried to tie in almost everybody's view of the whole thing. Let's see what heaven looks like for a God. Actually, these ones that stay and help out in heaven, that's a lower level of godhood. When you feel like you know enough about this system that when you get there, you're like, okay, I get this. I really know what I want to do now that I'm back here. I learned some stuff, and I'm a much better God than I was before, and I know what my passion is. I was trying to narrow it down, and I kind of chose the wrong thing last time, but I'm going to do it better this time. So this time, I really, really, really loved rap music. That last life you sent me on, I was a rapper extraordinaire, and I want to be the God of rap music. And they'll say, okay, well, let's see what your qualifications are. Let's see, you've got pretty stiff competition. The current God of rap music is, I don't know, name the guy. I don't even know anything about rap. But let's go see what he thinks about it. He may be ready for a promotion. We'll have to talk to his organization, see how his tenure has been received. In the meantime, I think, why don't you understudy with him? Why don't you just go hang around him and see how the God of Rap works, what he does on a eon-to-eon basis. And you go off and you spend some time with this other God to see what they're doing. And sometimes you replace them. Sometimes you find a place in their organization. You know what? I'm not quite ready to be the God of all rap. I think I'm going to be the God of Vulcan rap. Because the human field is already pretty crowded. But if I'm the God of Vulcan rap, all I gotta do is inspire a few souls to like rap music on the planet Vulcan, and I've got a whole new empire to conquer. Yay! I'm gonna be a great God of the thing I'm passionate about. That's perfectly fine. You'll learn a lot doing that. You learn a lot from being any kind of physical incarnation. You learn a lot from any job in heaven. And eventually you get to a point where, at least if you're on the heavenly side, the people that are on the same level as you are like, you know what, I'm not sure that anybody's going to want you as their God anymore, because you've been such a bastard about how you went about doing things. So I think you're going to have to incarnate once more. And learn a lesson in humility. Yeah. Not everybody does it. I know you're going to have to start out with square zero, knowing nothing. And it could take 1,000 lives for you to reach this point of enlightenment again, where you get to be a God again. But that's just the way the rules are. I'm sorry, I didn't make the rules. Who made the rules? Well, let me think back. I was born, I think they said it was the Matrix version 1,000,000.1.314 or thereabouts. I'm still trying to find, somebody that really knows exactly when I was born and where I fit into the whole thing. Have I met God? No, I don't think so. It's hard to say because, what, I've noticed that there's people that seem to know a lot more around here than I do, and don't always tell me everything. It's really frustrating because, I know a lot about heaven, and I've been up here a long time, and it's kind of humiliating that I just still don't know all the answers. And I don't know, maybe that's why I'm still in my position as personnel director, and you're taking another incarnation. Anyway, it's going to work out for you in the end. It's going to be hard, but you know, you're going to experience what every soul has to go through. I mean, and you've been through it before. My God, how many times did it take you to get this far? So don't sweat it. Don't feel like it's the end of the world. You might enjoy it, and you might find a new passion. You know, maybe you just really weren't cut out for rap after all. Maybe that kind of music makes you too edgy, and you become kind of a short-sighted, short-thinking, angry God. And you know, that's just not what that's supposed to be for. Gods are supposed to get people doing productive things and getting along with each other, and finding commonality between each other, and finding connections to the other gods, so that we can all learn to appreciate where everything connects to that one God that started all this mess, that everybody has an idea who he is. But that fella is cagey. Nobody hardly knows who he is. We all want to know. That's why we all keep striving. I mean, God, can you imagine being one of the gods that reported directly to the boss? That would be incredible. Nobody knows how to do it. Yeah, I know. I've talked to the 12. You know, they're like the top ones, but they still don't know who God is. They say something about these three souls who know who God is. If we can find those three, they say they're kind of like judges or something. Like they're like the referees of the whole thing. So you know, if somebody comes up with a really good idea, and they go incarnate to try the idea out as a human, and it works out. You know, like happened with that Jesus idea a couple thousand years ago. That was a good one. Well, then they get to come back and be a god. And boy, the God of Christianity is pretty powerful, but not as powerful as the God of religion. Now, the God of religion, now he's one of the new 12. He's got some buddies, you know, 12 other gods that happen to be the most important ones for humanity right now. And unless that, you know, it's a lot better now. And it used to be the 12 had a god of war, or many gods of war. That was senseless. Now we have gods of simple things like commerce, PR, time. Oh, that's a great god to have. And now instead of that silly god of love that nobody understood, or goddess of love, we have a goddess of sex. Everybody loves sex. That's working out a lot better. But none of those 12, I've even talked to the goddess of sex. Don't tell me, I'm not going to tell you I met her. She wouldn't. She didn't even know who the three were, the three judges. All she knew is that those three, any one of them, can veto any contribution to God's universe that comes along. And she believes that if it passes them, then there's one more chance to veto, and that comes from the big guy himself. And he doesn't mess with most decisions. Most of the time he lets the decisions of the three stand, or the three even delegate some decisions to, you know, the gods of whatever, because they don't want to be involved when you have to decide what color the next slug is going to be. But the big ones go all the way to the top. That's right. And if the top guy wants to make a change, wants to veto something, or modify an idea that is about to be implemented, he can, but he has to do it the same way as all of us do. Yeah, he's got to go incarnate. He's got to go find a human body, live a regular life in a world that has the new rule, and see firsthand whether he wants to do the veto or not. The big decisions all go that high. And that's, they say that's the only time that guy ever comes out of heaven and actually does anything. Otherwise, he sits up there, and I don't know what he's doing in his universe. Maybe he's got. A lot of people are still mad at him off there because, for some reason, he identifies as male, and almost every time he goes back down to Earth, he comes as a man, and it's caused so much trouble. And a lot of us are just really unhappy with that. I mean, like some people keep proposing that we do away with sex altogether, and that gets vetoed every time before it even gets close to him. Sometimes I hate God. Anyway, it was nice talking to you. Have fun in your next incarnation. If you need some counseling, helping you to figure out where to go and what you want to do, I'll hook you up with some of my assistants, okay? Anyway, I've got another appointment soon, so have a good life, and we'll see you next time in Heaven of Connection. I'm sorry if that got a little bit campy. I hope it didn't seem disrespectful to anyone. It allowed me a chance to use one of my old passions, acting and improv. So I quite enjoyed it. I'm glad that for some reason it wasn't recording the first time, because I think that turned out much better. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about heaven for the moment. If you have any questions, put them in the comment box. If you'd like to help me out, like, subscribe, share, donate by PayPal if you feel obligated to. I'm pretty decently off, so don't feel like you need to destroy your life savings to help this Omnist guy. If you want to get involved, if you know somebody that has a channel that, wow, it would be cool to have this crazy Omnist guy on there, by all means, hook him up. Love to interact with people, especially if they're challenging me, even if they're violent, as long as they leave their knives and guns at home. And anyway, yeah, so any way you want to get involved or don't want to get involved, thank you for watching this, and I hope you learned something from it. We'll see you next time on the Omnist Hour.